Cuomo dance, baby.
Yep.
I recognize that anywhere. That's the Cuomo dance. Yeah.
And speaking of Cuomo, it recently came out. Well, I guess not recently, but it's been kind of in the works for the past few months now that Governor Cuomo of New York has kind of been underreporting COVID deaths in the state of New York. Not to be confused with the city of New York, but the state of New York. And so it's just kind of an interesting thing that he and his administration, people who knowingly knew that they were underreporting COVID deaths, because we always thought this would kind of be the case in maybe Florida or Georgia, a state that can't really count that well.
Dang, some low blows coming out today.
Well, you would think it would happen maybe in Louisiana or Mississippi, but
they just don't care.
They just don't care. It's just well, that was the big outbreak this time last year during Mardi Gras.
Oh yeah,
happy Mardi Gras, people.
Yeah. They're not doing it this year, man.
No, it's virtual.
Don't even tell me about a virtual Mardi Gras. Stop.
What are they gonna do? Throw me bees through the camera?
All this virtual. Stop it. Just.
I think they should have just canceled.
Push it off to next year.
I think they should have just said just celebrate it with your family and go Tigers.
Virtual. What? But Cuomo, man, Cuomo kind of seems like
he's a D-bag.
I bet he'd be a pretty good dancer, though.
He probably is. He's Italian. He's still got most of his hair.
Older, weird guys that would hit on young chicks at a wedding. Everybody's like, "Who's that guy?" And he's actually doing the salsa or something.
Yeah.
But not the best one to run a city during a pandemic.
Well, apparently. A state.
Yeah. I think it's fun though, because he got the Emmy and everybody was weirded out, and some people are like, "Yay, this is fantastic."
That shows how corrupt our culture is. That we're giving someone.
But what's funny, Brian? I think they should still give it to him. You know why?
They should. They could.
Because he was lying the whole time, and he still looked great doing it.
Yeah, and he was pretending that something was happening that wasn't.
Maybe he deserves an Emmy
for something pretending to happen that didn't.
That's what I'm saying. So. He knew he was lying, but he still came across just like this.
It wasn't. Well, I guess in Cuomo's words, it wasn't necessarily a lie. It just wasn't a proven fact yet.
It just wasn't true.
It just wasn't proven yet that it was not true.
I like it, man. It's fun,
But I don't know, I guess, since you're sort of more on the medical side than I am, what do you think about the numbers when you saw them come out?
I don't know.
You think
the issue is that in the medical field, everybody's so used to getting real data that has been studied, refuted by other studies,
peer reviewed.
Yes,
like that.
And we're used to having a huge amount of data that goes back many years, and then councils come together,
build a consensus, and
they look at all the research. Okay, these are the guidelines for hypertension. These are the guidelines for cholesterol, for diabetes.
Well, that's the big thing that was coming up, with the Biden administration, that they want people to wear 2 masks now.
Yeah, why stop at 2? Let's wear 9 masks, and if you don't, we'll throw you in jail.
9 masks.
What I'm telling you is that it's at the beginning of this, nobody knew anything.
No.
And I was getting these emails every day or two being like, "Hey, we think this is going on. We think it's a blood type thing, or we think it's an autoimmune thing, or we think it's this." They would just keep coming out with all this data, and I remember reading for an hour every day trying to keep up with this, and then a week later it would come out, "Oh, nope, we were wrong. Oh, no,
not a blood thing."
And soon after a month, I was like, "I can't take this anymore. I'm wasting all my time reading all these theories that end up being false. So nobody knows what the frick we're doing, and let's just hope for the best," is what it came out to. So I was like,
essentially,
I didn't know about the numbers, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, and because I know a lot of people, as do you, that work in the medical and healthcare side of this, and they were basically saying, because one of the theories was we should just, and even I think Cuomo kind of fell under this belief, is that we should just kind of let the virus burn itself out. It's going to take out the most vulnerable more than likely, which in nursing homes are going to be elderly people, not necessarily the workers, but the elderly residents and things like that. And and then for the longest time, I think people were afraid for children, but then we found out that children are
not really hurting children.
Yeah, like they're the least affected by it. Because they don't smoke, they don't booze, and
yeah, they do all right, man.
They're not doing lines of coke.
Yeah. And
so it's just, I think, there was a lot of fear. We didn't really know what was going on, and I think to a greater point is that a lot of the numbers that we got were not necessarily manufactured, because obviously they were real people, but the fact that I believe it was. Was it Elon Musk that said that someone had a heart attack? They said it was COVID and things like that. But now we're seeing that it was actually the opposite, where people were actually dying of COVID, and they were just saying,
The problem is different places were counting them different.
Yeah.
That is the freaking issue.
Yeah.
And so when in one place you can, if it's
California,
any somewhat related to COVID, no matter what, you count it for COVID. Yeah. And then other places is the reverse.
Like Texas.
What are you supposed to believe?
Yeah.
You have no clue. And that's the issue, is that everybody's doing things different ways. We have different protocols, and all of a sudden everybody's confused, dude. So the whole thing is weird.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when the medical field looked at it, and obviously everybody had different opinions, but the fact is that this is the fastest that we've ever been able to come out with a vaccine, right?
Yeah.
And so we're looking at the beginning of this saying, okay, it's going to be a couple of years before we can get a vaccine.
I think that was the earliest.
Maybe.
I think that was
right?
the earliest.
And so we're saying we can't do this for we can't lock down for 2 years. Lock us down for 2 weeks. Tell me what it's gonna do.
Dude, after 2 months, people were already ready to revolt.
Lock us down 100%. Throw us in jail. Lock us down for a month, and guess what? Somebody's still gonna have it. It takes one freaking person. And so the cycle starts all over again. And so what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to keep the whole place shut down for 2 years, 3 years? Well, you can't do it. And so what the medical field, and what at least my opinion of it was, hey, get the healthy people out there. Because at least by a time, we knew that it was not good for old people, but young people is pretty decent. Right? And so we're saying, hey, young, healthy people, go out, live your lives, be careful, but hey, keep the world turning, and we'll keep the old and immunocompromised at home, where it's gonna burn out, we're gonna get herd immunity, and then hopefully minimize the deaths of the old and immunocompromised, and then at that point, then hey, we're good to go after that. Hopefully the vaccine will be ready, but the vaccine came out quicker than thought, which is cool.
Well, that's a good thing.
But the problem is we've done this I don't know what you're gonna call half-assed approach to the whole thing.
It's been it's not even been haphazard. I think it's been more ad hoc. Cause like you said, even for yourself, you were you and your family were traveling to different states, and it was totally different rules.
Totally different every state you went to.
Utah, it was totally just wear a mask, social distance.
Texas,
Texas is they don't care. You go to Florida, they don't. Then you go to North Carolina, and it's locked down. It's get the children in the basement.
Tennessee was weird. Tennessee was some neighborhoods were real into it, or some areas of the city were real into it. Maybe the hipster neighborhoods, but and then other ones were no, we don't care. We're good. So it was really weird. It was just very regional.
Yeah. I would say it's even more localized.
Yeah.
Because you go to places like Chicago. Chicago was just the same thing. You literally go to the hood. People man, I don't care. If I get it, I'm just gonna go to the county hospital or whatever, and then you go to some more well-to-do. Everyone's just inside. You see people peeking out their windows, looking away. It's just
I talked to my buddies in Chicago, and they're everybody's locked down.
Yeah.
I was yo, come down. We're gonna get together as a group. We're gonna go camping. He's that's not smart, man. I was what's not smart?
Camping?
I was there's 6 people, dude. Just chill. But they're it's a Chicago mentality.
Yeah,
Chicago slammed, and it's
Well, I think it was the whole, like you said, it was the whole fear of it. No one knew what was going on, because it almost seemed like the pandemic of 1919 with the Spanish flu, where people were just and I think that was we're not going to probably see a level of that pandemic again because of just the sheer fact that that pandemic killed healthy people or reasonably healthy people.
That's not a I mean, it could happen again.
It could, but the likelihood of it happening, I think, is a lot less than what it was in 19.
It was a weird one for sure.
Yeah, because it went on for 2 years too.
Yeah,
like this is probably going to go on for maybe, a few more cycles, and then it's going to be over.
You don't know that.
I don't know that, but I'm saying like the variants.
Could be a flu, man.
It could, yeah. And that's what the WHO said. This could be a thing where it's like the flu or HIV, where it's just in the population, until the end of time.
Till the end of time.
So, and I think Cuomo, he has some explaining to do.
He's gonna love that Emmy while he's sitting in prison. I think he's just
probably, and he's gonna be interviewed by his brother.
Exactly, they got a weird thing going,
Dude, it's so weird.
But yeah, Cuomo, man, he's an interesting cat. I'm glad he was caught though. It just brings a smile to my face.
Well,
at least some truth is coming out,
Yeah.
So rarely in the media these days, I feel like you're getting the truth. Like you're getting down
zero
to
truth.
And so every once in a while, where something like that happens,
truth.
you're like, yes,
you're
we got one.
You're getting zero. You're getting zero truth.
Yeah.
Because I think I don't think it's a partisan thing to say that hey, we shouldn't send these old people to die just because they're old, and because Cuomo has gotten flack for this year, in lefty. Journalism for a while because he slashed like over $200 million from Social Security and Medicaid in New York State.
Listen, he needs the old people out.
No, he's killing them so they don't collect Medicaid.
I'm saying New York